Why do many older adults seem to decline after turning 80? Even those who were mentally sharp and physically active just a few years earlier often begin to struggle. Most people think this shift is all about genes or luck, but that is only part of the picture. In this video, we will explore 5 surprising reasons, often missed or ignored, that help explain why staying healthy and living longer beyond 80 can be so difficult. These are not the usual topics like food, smoking, or working out. These are deeper, more hidden factors that can affect even those who have made mostly good choices throughout their lives. The encouraging part, once you understand what these factors are, you can take steps to address them. So if you have ever wondered what really stands in the way of long life after 80, and what you can still do about it, watch until the end. These 5 unexpected reasons could completely change how you approach aging before it is too late. Now let's begin. Number 1. The loss of microsocial engagement, one of the earliest and least recognized reasons many people struggle to thrive. After 80 is the slow disappearance of something called microsocial engagement. This does not mean close friendships or family time. Those are still important. What we are talking about are the small, everyday interactions that used to be part of your normal routine, often without you realizing it. Think about how often you would say a quick hello to the mail carrier, laugh briefly with the cashier at the store, or wave at a neighbor walking their dog. These tiny moments were not just nice. They helped calm your nervous system, reminded you that you belonged somewhere, and kept your brain socially alert and active. But after 80, many people stop going out as much. They might order groceries online or ask loved ones to handle errands. They may avoid conversations with strangers because hearing has become harder, or skip walks because it is too chilly or their legs feel unstable. What is surprising is that most people do not even notice it happening. They believe they are just making life simpler, but what they are really doing is cutting out those small daily social moments that keep the brain active, lift mood, and remind the body it still belongs in the regular living world. It does not have to be a big effort. I have seen men in their 80s stay mentally strong just by walking to the same cafe every morning, greeting the same staff, and nodding at the same few people at the corner. That short stretch of human contact was not just a habit, it was essential. It gave their day a rhythm, helped them stay responsible, and reminded them they were noticed. When this begins to fade, the brain pays a price. Loneliness, both the obvious kind and the quiet kind, triggers stress responses. It alters hormone levels, increases inflammation, and weakens the immune system. More importantly, it starts to wear down the parts of the brain that manage memory, focus, and emotional control. Simply put, it makes you feel old more quickly. So if you have noticed yourself speaking to others less during the day, avoiding short errands, no longer starting small talks, or feeling like no one sees you in your community, it may be time to shift that. Those brief connections, even the ones you quickly forget, are quietly telling your brain and body that you still count, that you are still connected, and that message is one of the strongest natural ways to stay alive. Not just in age, but in energy. Number 2, overcautious inactivity. Another hidden reason many people struggle to live beyond 80 is something that often looks like wisdom, being careful. But there is a thin line between being careful and becoming too cautious. Once that line is crossed, the effects are slow but steady. It often starts with the best of intentions. Maybe you once slipped on stairs or nearly tripped on the pavement, so you choose to avoid walking outdoors. You stop bending to reach the lower shelf or hesitate to climb into the back seat of a car. You start sitting more often and stay seated longer. Those around you praise this caution. Do not overdo it, they say. Take it slow, and without realizing it, you build a life that is safe, but still. But here is what rarely gets mentioned. When you stop moving, you start losing strength. Not just in your legs or arms, but also in your coordination, your balance, and your internal sense of stability. Your body does not work like a machine that rests to stay in shape. It is more like a garden that needs care, and when movement slows down, things do not stay the same. They weaken. One of the first areas where this becomes clear is the core. Most people do not understand just how important the deep muscles around the trunk are. They support almost everything: standing, walking, lifting, even getting out of a chair. If these muscles are not used, even for a short time, they begin to shrink. And once they shrink, balance becomes harder, your steps become unsteady, and the cycle worsens. I once knew a man named Walter, 82, who gave up his evening walks after slipping once on a wet day. He did not break any bones, just got scared. But that one event was enough. He went from walking a mile every night to spending most evenings in front of the television. Within 6 months, he lost 10 pounds of muscle. His legs felt weak. His doctor warned him, but the damage was already underway. Walter did not stop walking because he was weak. He became weak because he stopped. This does not mean you should ignore real dangers. There are smart ways to reduce risk: using handrails, wearing shoes that give support, keeping walkways clear, even using a cane if it helps. But it is important to see the difference between managing risk and giving in to it. When fear starts to decide how much you move, your body begins to forget how to move at all. So if you have found yourself doing less, not because you are unable, but because you are afraid of what could happen, pay close attention. Ask yourself, am I truly being careful, or am I slowly fading away? Because life after 80 is not only about avoiding falls. It is about continuing to move, even if you have to move more slowly, more mindfully, or more carefully. Movement tells the body it still has a job to do. It helps your system stay active, your mind stay sharp, and your heart stay strong with purpose. And if you are still watching and finding value in these points, please type number 2 in the comments to let me know you are here. If you have not subscribed yet, I suggest you do and turn on the bell so you do not miss new videos. Your support helps us keep creating useful content that informs and motivates. Now let's continue. Number 3. Disrupted sleep cycles caused by irregular light exposure. Inside your body is a silent clock. It does not tick, but it controls nearly everything: your mood, your energy, your immune system, and even how your brain heals itself during sleep. After age 80, this clock, your circadian rhythm, becomes especially easy to disturb. One major reason it gets out of sync is not getting enough daylight during the day and getting too much artificial light at night. You may not notice it right away. Maybe you have started napping more in the afternoons, falling asleep in the sunlight, or maybe you have stopped going outdoors regularly, especially in the colder months. You might turn on the TV in the evening or leave the lights on late while watching a movie or reading a book. These small habits may seem harmless, but together they slowly confuse your body about when it should be awake and when it should wind down. Your body depends on natural light to keep its timing in sync. Bright light in the morning tells your brain it is time to wake up, to start moving, to send energy where it is needed. Darkness at night signals the release of melatonin, that natural hormone that prepares your body for deep, restful sleep. But if your eyes are not exposed to enough daylight, or if your nights are filled with artificial light from lamps or screens, those signals get mixed up. The result? You might find it harder to fall asleep or stay asleep. You may wake up groggy, even after lying in bed for 8 hours. You might notice your energy dropping during the day, or your memory not feeling as sharp, and over time, poor sleep does more than make you tired. It weakens your immune system, affects your mood, and raises the chance of memory problems. There is also the issue of vitamin D. Your body naturally makes it when your skin is exposed to sunlight. But after 80, your skin's ability to make vitamin D slows down. That makes regular time outdoors even more important. Without it, your bones, muscles, and immune system can suffer. I once met a woman named Helen, age 84, who had been feeling more tired and mentally cloudy than usual. Her blood tests were normal, her meals had not changed, and she had not started any new medications. What helped? Her doctor suggested a simple change: 20 minutes every morning sitting by a bright window, with the blinds wide open, and turning off screens an hour before bed. Within 2 weeks, her sleep got better, her memory was clearer, and her mood lifted. It was not a pill, it was light. So if you have been spending most of your time inside with the curtains closed, or your evenings are full of blue light from the TV or phone, it may be time for a small shift. Try stepping outside within an hour of waking up, even if just onto your porch. Let your eyes and skin absorb that morning light. In the evening, lower the lights and give your body time to settle down. These simple patterns are more than comforting. They are essential, because many people do not realize that aging does not happen only from wear and tear. It also happens when the body's systems fall out of sync. Getting your light exposure right, improving your sleep routine, and keeping a steady daily rhythm. That is how you bring your body back into order. That is how you remind yourself, even at 85, we are still on track, still active, still here. Number 4, emotional. Suppression caused by loss and isolation. By the time many people reach their 80s, they have lived through more loss than most younger people can truly understand. A partner, a sibling, a lifelong friend, or sometimes even a child. And while others may politely offer their sympathy, what often goes unspoken is just how deeply these losses build up, not only in memory, but physically as well. What often happens after 80 is not only grief, it is emotional suppression. A quiet habit of holding back pain instead of letting it out, of putting on a brave face because you feel like you should be used to it by now, or because there is no one left who truly understands the depth of what you have lost. But here is what matters. The body does not forget. When grief is not worked through, when it is not shared, not expressed, not fully felt, it does not go away. It stays, and over time, that emotional weight turns physical. It begins to affect your immune system, your digestion, your ability to sleep. It shifts your hormones. It puts your nervous system into a constant state of quiet stress. The most difficult part? It often happens silently. On the outside, you may appear calm. You may say everything is fine. But if your shoulders seem a little heavier, if your breathing has become more shallow, or if your energy feels a bit dull, grief might be the reason, even if it has not been spoken about in years. I remember a man named George, 86 years old, who lost his wife after 60 years of marriage. He rarely cried, said that was not how he coped, said he was managing, but within a year he had lost weight, stopped going to the senior center, and struggled with sleep. Not from illness, but because his body was carrying sorrow it had never released. You see, emotional pain does not have to be dramatic to have an impact. And when it finally starts to affect your health, it is not always clear where it began. What helps people live well into their 80s and beyond is not just staying physically active, it is having space to release emotions. It is being able to express sadness, fear, or longing, to say, I miss her, or I still feel angry, or I feel alone, without being dismissed. That kind of honesty allows the heart to breathe, and when the heart can breathe, the body starts to heal. That is why people who age well often have a healthy outlet. It might be a close friend. It might be writing in a journal. It might be a spiritual group, a community circle, or a counselor who helps unpack the weight of old stories. Whatever the form, the idea is the same. What is expressed can be released. What stays buried stays stuck. So if you have been holding something in, not because you want to, but because you have not known where to put it, maybe it is time to make space, not only for your mind, but for your emotions, but for your life as well. Because the truth is, the heart can only carry so much before it begins to slowly shut down. And if you want to live well beyond 80, not just existing, but truly living, you have to allow yourself to feel, too. If you are still watching this video and find these thoughts helpful, please comment number 4 below to let me know you are still here. And if you have not subscribed yet, I suggest you subscribe and turn on the bell so you do not miss future videos. Your support helps us keep making content that informs and encourages. Now let us continue. Number 5. Gradual loss of daily purpose. One of the more hidden reasons many people stop thriving past 80 is the slow fading of something we rarely think about until it is missing: daily purpose. Not some big life purpose in a deep or philosophical sense, but a simple kind of purpose. The kind that gives you a reason to get out of bed each morning. Something to do, somewhere to go, someone to connect with. Purpose does not need to be big. It could be watering your plants before the heat sets in. It could be feeding the stray cat that shows up each morning. It could be writing a letter to your granddaughter or fixing that loose hinge on the backyard gate. But when those small tasks start to slip away, when mornings arrive without a reason to move, and evenings come without anything to look back on, something inside begins to go quiet. The body listens to the mind. And when the mind no longer finds a reason to keep going, the body starts slowing too. Appetite fades, movement becomes slower, and the systems that once helped keep you healthy do not stop working. They just stop getting the message that they are needed. It is easy to overlook because it happens over time. Maybe your weekly card game ended. Maybe the church group stopped meeting. Maybe your family does not visit as often. Or the volunteer role you once loved ended because your joints started aching. You tell yourself it is just part of aging, but inside, you notice the difference. The days start blending together. Each one feels a little quieter than the last. I once met a woman named Ruth, 88 years old, who seemed more full of life than people half her age. She was not rich. She did not have perfect health, and she did not live surrounded by a big family. But she had something that never left her: routine. Every Monday, she wrote postcards to people in her church who could not leave their homes. Every Thursday, she made soup and froze it for a nearby shelter. Every afternoon at 4U, she sat by her window to watch the neighborhood kids walk home. She knew their names. She waved, and they waved back. It was not anything grand, but it gave her days structure. It gave her heart rhythm. It gave her life a sense of continuity, and that is what no one really talks about. The body keeps going as long as it believes it has a role to play. Purpose, even the smallest kind, is like fuel. It tells your cells to keep repairing, your organs to keep working, your brain to keep paying attention. When that sense of being needed fades, when it feels like your presence no longer matters to anyone or anything, the light inside starts to dim. That is why people who live past 80 with clarity and strength usually have something grounding their day. It might be a garden, a pet, a notebook, a routine, a regular phone call, a short morning prayer. The size does not matter. It is the regularity that counts. Knowing that when you open your eyes in the morning, there is a reason to start the day. So if you have been feeling a little lost, like your days have lost direction or meaning, do not overlook it. That feeling is not just sadness, it is a signal. A quiet call from your body asking for rhythm again, for a sense of structure, for connection and purpose. Because in the end, living a long life is not only about having a beating heart, it is about having a heart that still wants to beat. And that quiet motivation to keep moving, to stay connected, to still have meaning. That is what helps people live well beyond 80, with lives that still feel whole. Final thoughts. As we wrap up this video, I want to leave you with a simple but meaningful truth. Most people do not start fading after 80 because of one big event. It is usually not a diagnosis, not a fall, or even a birthday that changes everything overnight. It is the slow, quiet fading of daily routines, of small habits, of reasons to stay involved. Often those shifts are so subtle, so slow, that you do not notice them until something inside feels just a bit dimmer than before. But here is the encouraging part. Just like these shifts happen over time, they can also be gently reversed over time. A short walk outside, a small conversation with someone at the store, a light stretch when you wake up, something you choose to do, not because you are told to, but because it adds back a little structure, a bit of connection, a sense of meaning. That is how the change begins. So think back on the 5 unexpected reasons we covered. Which one caught you off guard? Which one felt a little too familiar? And more importantly, which one are you willing to work on, even in the smallest way? Starting today? Because the truth is, you hold more influence than you may believe, not to stop aging altogether, but to shape how you go through it. And if you are willing to stay alert to the small changes, if you are ready to protect your routines, hold on to your sense of purpose, and allow yourself to feel what needs to be felt, then you are not just likely to reach 80, you may move beyond it with clarity, with presence, and on your own terms. Thank you for spending time with us today. We would love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below and share one thing you took from this video and how you plan to use it in your life. Your voice matters to us, so please do share. Reading what you write gives us real motivation and helps us keep going. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support allows us to keep creating quality content to inform and support you. Thanks again for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one.